All right, man, welcome. I'm so excited about what we're going to be talking about here. We're going to be talking about the real source of self esteem. So, a lot of people out there, they'll tell you, hey, to feel good about yourself, just write down a lot of times a day, I am great, I'm wonderful, I'm awesome, I'm smart, I'm brave, whatever. These I am statements. So, those can help some, but what I want to talk about today is what is really going to work to always keep you feeling good about who you are as a person, um, and what will be really an unbreakable sense of self esteem. So, the number one thing, guys, um, I don't know if one's more than the other here, but so there's two big things that you need to do and focus on and develop in yourself to really feel good about who you are as a person. One of those is making and keeping promises. So, when you know that you are a man of your word, you can feel so confident and so good about who you are as a person. Um, if you look at your life and you think to yourself, okay, you know, you might say this, and you might look at this and say, okay, yeah, I do pretty much do that. But I want you to really think hard about this. So, in your marriage, you came here because you're having marriage problems. So, I know that there are places in your marriage where you have made promises and not kept them. I guarantee it. Um, so, just look through your day, right? How many times has your wife said, how many times did I have to ask you to do that? Now that's frustrating. That's annoying when your wife says that. But what she's really saying, right, is, hey, you made a promise to me and you didn't keep it. Okay. So that erodes her trust. Women need security and they need romance. So if you can't keep a promise, she doesn't have security. She doesn't know she can trust you. She doesn't know you can protect her. Okay. So that's going to improve your marriage, but it's mainly we're talking about how you're going to feel about yourself, right? You're going to feel good about yourself. Your wife says, why didn't you take out the trash when you said you would? You said, oh, I got tired. I got busy. Okay. And then she's like, well, so there are a few things going on there. She feels unimportant to you. But also, you have not kept your promise. And so you don't really feel good about yourself. You're going to start blaming her. You're going to start seeing her as an object. You're going to start saying, oh, she's just making me feel bad. She's just someone that's in my way. Um, and you're off to the races like getting into a fight, right? But what you want to do instead is just be a man that keeps your word. You say, so if she says, hey, I asked you to take the trash out, why did you do it? Your response is, hey, I'm sorry, I know I told you I'd do that. Let me go do it right now. That's not to, just try to please your wife or, try to be whipped by her or whatever. It's just keeping your promise. Okay. You're going to feel good about yourself. Your wife's going to feel more secure. Everything's going to be better. Or your kids, right? How many times do they ask you to go play and you said, yeah, I will later, and you haven't followed through? Or you at work, hey, when are you going to get this done? Or why didn't you get this done? You go blame somebody else. Okay. So we're going to be done with that. If you want to feel good about yourself, you need to be done with that. You need to be a man of your word. Okay. And there's going to be times when you mess up. As hard as you work on this, I'm talking to myself too here. There are going to be times when you make a promise and you don't follow through. So what happens then? You just go apologize. You say, look, I want to be a man of my word. I wasn't this time and I'm sorry. How can I make that up to you? Okay. So that's number one. You want to feel good about yourself? Keep the promises that you make. The other side of this too is you're going to be more careful, right? If you know you're going to follow through with things you say, you're going to say no a lot more. If your wife says, hey, can you take out the trash tonight? And you say, look, I'm sorry, I really can't follow through on that, so I'm not going to be able to do that. Or at church, if they ask you to do something extra and you really can't, you're just going to say, no, I'm sorry, I can't do that. Or your kid says, can we play? You say, I'm sorry, I have to work right now, but let me find another time that we can do that. When I can, make sure that I keep my promise. Okay. And it's hard at first to do that, but once you develop that muscle, people respect you more and you respect yourself more because they know, hey, like he's not just going to say yes and then not do it, right? He's going to say yes and do it. So when you say no, in a weird way, it actually helps yourself and the people around you, okay? Because they know that a yes actually means a yes. A yes doesn't mean, oh yeah, maybe I'll do it, maybe I won't. Okay? So that's number one. Second thing, remembering your inherent worth and your infinite potential. And really, both of these are infinite. Okay, you have infinite worth just as a human being, just for being alive. Okay, you also have infinite potential to become an amazing, incredible person. Okay, you've been given certain gifts and abilities. You have certain gifts and abilities, and you can use those to serve mankind in an incredible way. You really do, and you really have that inside of you. So remembering that. If you're a religious person, it's helpful because you know that you're a child of God. Okay? I'm a Christian person, um, and this is one of the biggest things that helps me is to remember, hey, I'm a son of God, right? So I have amazing worth and value because of that. I also have amazing potential because God can help me and he's given me gifts. And if I, use his help, I can become just an amazing the best version of who I can be. Another thing you can remember is if you're a Christian, remembering that someone perfect died for you, Jesus, right? So would a perfect person die for someone that wasn't valuable? No. Or that, couldn't become a better person? That was the other part of what Jesus did, right? He died so that we could become better people and not have to be stuck. Okay? So it can be really helpful to remember that. So if you are a religious person, one of the best things you can do is start praying to really see yourself as God sees you, to see that worth and value that you have inside of you. And if you ask for it, he'll give it to you. I've been able to do that for myself. I've asked to be able to see, we'll get into this next, but seeing your wife that way and your kids that way, really being able to put on those glasses that God has on to see yourself and others that way. It's an amazing thing. And it's the key to really loving yourself. When you really do these things, a lot of your marriage problems are going to go away because you're a man of your word and you feel value. We're going to talk a lot about, when we don't have this, how we try to get that worth from our wife, how we try to, we want her to appreciate us all the time because we don't feel this worth for ourselves. Okay. Or we try to put her down because we want to feel smart or powerful because we don't remember this. Right? Because when we have this, now we can give that. We can give that to our wife. We can give her love and respect because we love and respect ourselves. Now, if you're not a religious person, just remembering, hey, like, as human beings, we're the peak of evolution, right? We're perfect human beings. We've evolved and we're at this point, or we're part of the universe, whatever it is. As humans, we're equals and we are really amazing in our abilities and potential and our value. So one of the big keys here, guys, is it's not based on comparison to others. So having infinite potential, having inherent worth, right? If I look at the person next to me, I don't feel superior to them. I feel equal to them in an amazing way. Like, this is my brother and we can do this together. It's a great feeling. It's empowering. I feel good energy as I'm explaining this to you guys. I wish I could see you and, give you a handshake or a hug and just say, like, we're in this together and we can do this. So it's not based on that comparison. Whereas if I'm saying I'm smart, then I have to look around and I have to see the person next to me as less smart than me, right? To still feel good about myself. That's the trick. So this is a good quote. It's from one of the leaders in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. His name's Dietrich Hooper. It's from a talk that he gave. It says, one woman who had been through years of trial and sorrow said through her tears, I've come to realize that I'm like an old $20 bill, crumpled, torn, dirty, abused, and scarred, but I'm still a $20 bill. I am worth something. Even though I may not look like much, and even though I have been battered and used, I am still worth the full $20. Okay? So no matter what you've done, even if you're here because you really messed up and you cheated on your wife or you've been really unkind to your wife and your kids, whatever it is, just remember you still have that worth. You've been addicted to things, drugs, pornography, whatever. You still have that infinite value, okay? Even though you're all kind of battered and beat up by the stuff that you've done, you still have that infinite value and infinite potential. Doesn't matter what's happened. Infinite covers everything. That's what's cool about it. So the second step, right? Other people have that same infinite worth and potential. We've already kind of covered that. We all have different gifts, abilities, and attributes. I believe those are given to us from God to serve each other in specific ways. I feel like this is my gift to be able to teach and help you guys with these things. But I'm doing this on a computer. And someone had the gift to figure out how to put this thing together and make it all work, which is incredible. I have no knowledge or any way to do that. And that's not saying my gift is better than theirs or anything like that. Like, we're all here and we have these gifts to help each other. It's an amazing thing. And we have that infinite potential to become, better people. It's based on true love and God's love and charity and seeing each other in that way. It can be helpful if you have kids to think about them, right? Although maybe you haven't even developed this that well with your kids, but you do have this sense that like you love each kid and you love them equally, and they have different gifts, but you don't love one less than the other. And if you do, or if you feel like that way sometimes, it's helpful to remind you. What I found is when you have something you really don't like about your kid or somebody else, is that you probably don't like that about yourself. For example, one of my sons gets very competitive about sports and gets upset when he loses. Um, and I don't like that. I don't like seeing that. But, I get mad at him for that. But guess what? When I was growing up, I was like that awfully, right? I was horrible about crying and getting so mad, blaming everybody when I lost a game. And when I say that on him, I get so upset. But I need to remember like to own that in myself and to say, hey, I kind of have that same thing, and have some compassion and love for myself, and then for him too, and say, hey, let's work on this, and let's remember like we all have that infinite worth of potential, whether we lose a game or not. Um, Infinite worth and potential that really outweighs all the other stuff, which is great. So yeah, our kids are different, but we love them equally, and God views us in that same way. Right? So really pray to get that, guys. Pray to get that. Even if you're not religious, visualize or meditate or access the universe or whatever it is to be able to see yourself and others with this infinite worth and potential, because we do have it. Okay. So, and it is a gift from God. In a book that we read in our church, the Book of Mormon, it says charity, it's the pure love of Christ, and we can get it if we pray with all the energy of heart. Meditate for it, picture it, visualize it, visualize seeing. How's your life going to be different when you're able to do this? Right? So what about your flaws, right? So a healthy sense of self, we recognize our imperfections, but it remembers our worth at the same time. That's the potential half, right? So because we have infinite worth, we realize even when I make a mistake, that's okay. But we also realize the second half, which is our potential, which is like, hey, I didn't live up to my potential there. So let's learn from that, and let's kind of take another step forward to becoming the best version of myself. Okay, don't beat yourself up, brothers, for shortcomings. Like I said, when you really care for yourself and you realize your own shortcomings are just kind of part of the deal and a way for us to improve, and we still have that potential, you're not going to be so upset with other people. If you're mad at your wife because she doesn't give you enough appreciation, probably, you realize you're not giving your wife enough appreciation too. Maybe you hear that and you're thinking, well, I do, but she doesn't give me enough. But at any rate, we'll get into that more later. But the key is just, for your own mistakes, don't beat yourself up so much. Just remember, hey, my worth didn't change because of that, and I can still become a better person. Okay, we choose to work on those imperfections, not let them define us. If we've made a big mistake, that's okay. We do what we can to fix it, and we use it to become a better version of ourselves. Focus on that worth and potential. Okay. This is a good quote from the Book of Mormon. As Christian and people that believe in God, if you're not, I'd recommend you become one. But whatever gives you that sense of value and self. Some people find that outside religion. That's fine. But so this is a quote. It says, "If men come into me," this is Jesus talking. "If men come into me, I will show unto them their weakness. I give unto men weakness that they may be humble. And my grace is sufficient for all men that humble themselves before me. For if they humble themselves before me and have faith in me, then will I make weak things become strong unto them." And I can testify to you guys, like I have felt that for myself. When I've realized my own weaknesses and shortcomings, and taken them to God in prayer, I've been able to, feel His strength and feel His power and get, become better because of that. So we kind of talked about the story, but there's something called the growth mindset. This is from a book called Mindset by Carol Dweck. If you want to pick it up, it's a great read. So you want to look at marriage as a chance to become the best possible version of yourself. Okay? That's what marriage is for. It's not to, get all your needs met. It's not to be romantic. It's not, I scratch my back, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. That's not what it's about. This is the ultimate self-improvement course. That's how I want you guys to think about it. Okay. this is my belief, is that you are attracted to someone that your imperfections and theirs will match up in a way that's going to help you grow and develop. And you are attracted to that person for a reason. I believe God's hand is in that, to help us grow in the ways that we need to. So what does that mean? It means that your soulmate isn't the person that everything is perfectly easy with. Okay, it means your soulmate is someone that their problems and imperfections and your problems and imperfections line up so that you help each other grow. Okay, it's not that it's all just growth and no fun ever, right? Growing is fun, but you add physical attraction and all of that too that makes things interesting and exciting. Um, we're going to talk about romance and how we bring that back in passion. All that's fun, but the underlining kind of the core of it is to develop ourselves into better people. So it's about that. Find true love for yourself and your spouse, remembering that infinite worth and potential, that it's equal, right? Your worth, your infinite worth is not more than your wife's infinite worth. Your infinite potential is not more than your wife's infinite potential. Okay, you got to remember that. It's key to loving your neighbor as yourself. That's what Jesus taught us. We always focus on this part, love your neighbor. Sometimes we forget the second half of that, as yourself. That's just as important. Okay? And we love ourselves as children of God with infinite worth and potential, or as part of the universe or whatever, but that we're equal, right? So she talks in her book about a fixed versus a growth mindset. So a fixed mindset would be something like, I'm a good husband. So we talked about those affirmations, right? So you might go in and you do an affirmation that says, I'm a good husband. And you think that can be kind of helpful, but here's the problem, right? So the problem is if you're telling yourself that, your brain does a few things. First of all, it disregards evidence that you're not, right? So if your wife says, hey, why didn't you take out the trash? And you're telling yourself, I'm a good husband, that evidence kind of says you're not, right? You didn't take out the trash, maybe you're not a good husband. So what are you going to do? A couple of things. You're either going to feel really bad about yourself because, oh, wait, actually, I'm not a good husband, so now I feel bad about myself. Or you're going to kind of like get mad at her and say, well, yeah, maybe I didn't do that, but look at all the other things I did, right? You're going to try to prove, hey, I'm a good husband, right? Because it hurts your identity, right? If you hear you're not a good husband in whatever way, if that's part of your identity, you got a problem. Also, there's no opportunity to improve here, right? I'm a good husband, okay, like, does that give you a chance to become a better husband? Not really, right? So the growth mindset, instead, what you want to say to yourself is, marriage is my chance to become the best possible version of myself. Okay? So now, when your wife says, hey, you didn't take out the trash, you're going to say to yourself, okay, yeah, I didn't do that, and I want to be a man of my word, and I didn't live up to that, so let me do that. Or your wife says, hey, like, why do you yell so much? Why do you get so mad at the kids? You're going to say, you're going to remember your infinite worth. Hey, even though I get mad, I still have infinite worth. And then you're going to remember your infinite potential. And you're going to say, okay, like, yeah, let me work on that. Let me, go through the material in this course again and see how I can manage that anger better. Because I want to become the best possible version of myself. Your wife and your kids, they're the ones who see you the most, okay? They are going to know where you need to grow up as a person, whether that's spiritually, mentally, emotionally, sexually, physically, whatever it is. They're going to see it. Okay, so use that. They're going to help you become the best possible version of yourself. And guys, here's the thing, right? It's never comfortable to grow. Okay, when you were young, you had growing pains in your legs, and you didn't like that, but you're glad that you didn't stay 3 feet forever. Right? Or when you go to the gym and you work out, it's not comfortable when you hit those last few reps, right? And your muscles are tearing; they're literally tearing, and it hurts. But you're glad later when you are stronger and look better, right? Or running, or developing your talents in art, or whatever it is. You were bad at first, and that was not comfortable, wasn't fun. But then you got good and you grew. Okay, it's never comfortable, but you're always happy with the result. And that's how we reach toward our potential. Okay? So remember that. Make this your mantra. Marriage is my chance to become the best possible version of myself. That's the purpose of marriage, okay? Whatever anybody else tells you, this is the purpose of marriage. Become the best possible version of yourself. Now, in our society, we have some worth booby traps, I call them. So a lot, like society and a lot of A lot of our upbringing will tell us, hey, like your value is based on your achievements. Okay, how much money do you have? What kind of job do you have? What kind of awards have you won? Okay, so a lot of times we can base our worth in that. Um, my bank account's bigger, so now I feel good. Or I got the job promotion I wanted, so now I feel good. Or I got this award I wanted, now I feel good. Or and the thing we tell ourselves, right? And this is really important. What we tell ourselves is when I have $1 million, I'm gonna be happy. Okay. Or when I get that promotion, I'm gonna be happy. Or when I win that award, I'm gonna be happy. But guess what? You get that award and you're happy for a little bit, and then you're on to the next thing. Oh well, maybe I needed $2 million to feel happy, or maybe 3 million, right? So you're in a bad spot there, and a lot of people get trapped in it. Another one's attributes. Okay, so this is those like I'm smart, I'm brave, whatever. Um, how physically strong you are, or if you say, hey, I'm you know mentally strong, I look a certain way, I'm smart, I'm smarter than, I'm a very smart person. Okay, these aren't as problematic. Well, I shouldn't say that. These are problematic because you get in this trap where you're trying to chase the Lamborghini, right? And then you get it and you feel good for a little, and then you don't. You're like, oh, what the heck? Um, these ones, the problem is like if you're like, I'm smart, I'm smart. Um, the problem is based on comparison, right? So when someone comes along smarter than you, now you feel awful. Or someone comes along and they look better than you, now you look awful. Or someone comes along and they're stronger than you, now you feel awful. Okay. Another one, righteousness, like how well do you live up to the standards of your church? In our church, people can get trapped in this. I know I have in the past. How well do I live the commandments? That's going to be how good I feel about myself. Oh, like I didn't go shopping on Sunday, but he did, so I'm a better person, right? Or he had an affair, but I didn't. Or my wife had an affair, but I didn't, so I'm a better person. Okay, that's a problem. It's a moral superiority. That's not. Some people get trapped, right? They think, well, if I'm morally better, like if I am more, kind or more honest, that means I'm a better person. That's kind of a trap, right? So we gotta be careful about that one. It's called self-righteousness, right? Um, there's a good quote about, God let me, forgive those who choose to sin differently than I do. I like that quote. Okay. So, if we're really trying to be more better people, if part of our makeup, what we're trying to do is become like more like Christ or more Christian people or better people, um, that's great. But the goal towards our approach to other people then should be growing as well and helping them, feel more of God's love for them. Right? Okay. Another one's social standing. How many friends do I have? How many likes on Facebook do I have? How many friends on Facebook? How many Instagram followers? Right? Popularity. How many people came to my birthday party? Positions. In church or in politics or whatever. Right? But when I get here, I'm going to be more powerful. I'm going to feel good. Okay. So again, these are worth booby traps because then you have 100 friends. Oh, is that enough? No, I need to get 200 now. Oh, I got to be made president of my chapter of this group. Now I want to be president of the whole organization. Then I'll be happy. Based on comparison, that's the whole problem here. You got this never-ending need to prove yourself, even to your spouse, right? So if you're caught up in money and you're trying to prove, hey, look, honey, look how much money I have, and you keep like buying her gifts and stuff to try to look cool. When she doesn't respond to that and she doesn't give you that worth, now you feel crappy, right? Or you bought her something and she really loved it, and now you're like, oh, great, now I have to like match that again. Now I have to, get her something just as good next time. Or intelligence. If you're always trying to prove how smart you are to your wife, you're not going to listen to her very well. Okay, and she won't like that. Nobody likes a know-it-all. Or you're trying to. So I've fallen into this one and like, hey, we need to read scriptures, and if you're not doing it, like, you're a bad person. Meaning, and if you're a bad person, what that really means is I'm a better person. That's what I'm really saying. I'm a better person. Whereas if I think it's a real problem, my approach would be, hey, like I'm worried that, we're not reading scriptures as much, and I think it would really help you and me and our family. Let me understand where you're coming from on that, because this is important to me. Let me see if we can work something out, right? That would be my approach, not you're a bad person, I'm good. We're doing it my way because my way's better, okay? It's kind of a combination of this intelligence and righteousness thing. So a good question you can ask yourself is, if everyone had it, how would you feel? Okay. So if everyone had the same $1 million, how would you feel? Okay. Would you feel kind of deflated? If everybody had the same job, if everybody won the same award, would you feel like, oh, well, that doesn't really matter? If everyone was just as good looking, everyone is smart, if everyone had the same number of friends, okay? So if you can really answer, like for me, I want to have a certain amount of money. But I can honestly answer to myself now. I don't think I could have for always, but now I can say, hey, if everybody else had that much money, I'd be really happy for them too, right? That they could enjoy the same type of things that I can. Now I can say that honestly, but before I couldn't. I was more trapped. Okay. All right, guys. So here's the challenge. Seeing your own great worth and your limitless potential. Pray, meditate, visualize to do that. See your wife's great value and limitless potential, infinite worth, infinite potential. Pray and meditate, visualize to get it. So the phrase you want to keep telling yourself, I have infinite worth and infinite potential, both. Okay? Remember how you see your children, and God sees you that same way. This great value. And remember, marriage is a chance to become better, to become the best possible version of yourself. That's the other phrase you can tell yourself over and over. Marriage is my chance to become the best possible version of myself. It's not to prove you're perfect, not to prove you're great. Growth's never comfortable, but it's always worth it. I want you to see and avoid those worth booby-traps, which again are achievements, attributes, social standing. All right, guys, I'm really excited about this material. It's been huge for me in my life, so I'm glad I got to share it with you. And yeah, let's keep going. And just remember your limited worth, infinite potential. Look at marriage as that chance to become the best possible version of yourselves.